So I draw the big shape of circle to have an idea, and it's so light. Now for each petal, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 petals it has. So I imagine this is oval shape of a center, and should be yellow. A little bit more space here. I just want to make it easy to drawing. And then one shape place here. It's look like pineapple. One like that. The other is spread here. Another is a little bit bigger. So place hold this part like that. And then divided this two like this shape. So I spread all this. The other is this two smaller one. One is this whole shape. I draw it beside this. I keep a little bit of space because of the stem that should be placed between. So draw another circle, or even it can be a little bit oval shape. And then another one is, this is look like triangle, big triangle, the shape of petals. So I try to follow this shape of triangle in a big, it's like slice of pizza. So I draw a little bit dark to be visible for you, but please not drawing very dark. So these are the simple, really simple shape of our flower. I want to make it a little bit accurate. So I switch to this circle on top. This circle shape, one big petal is here, the two is on the other side. So one big petal, I imagine this is a center which is yellowy. The big one is placed here and then here. Whole this is one petal, but it's with the color, it's pinky, dark pinky color, a little bit yellow inside and a little bit purple. So the big pineapple separate by this, and I divide it here. Okay, for this triangle, big shape, this is the center. It's yellowy. I just go for that. Separate this one. And this big petal, I add a curved line here and another curved line here. Then I see this big petal here, which is divided by this section. And it has a line here. So I divide this part. And then these two should be placed, one here. Start from here for this one, these two. Let's connect here and then move up. So the stem is 1, 2, 3. I just go with, first of all, this one. It shows that is, sorry, it shows that it starts from here, it's under the first one and then pass here. I go with one line. I don't want to make it a little bit thicker. I go a thicker line with just the paint. So I draw one line here to have an idea about this stem, and then imagine this is under the flower and then pass like that here. This is one stem. And then this one is for here. It's better your stem not be really straight. It's better to be a little bit gentle, see care. I go with this seeker for that, and then this one. So these are about the line. And each leaf I think one is here. So I draw one big shape like that. It's look like oval shape, but a little bit pointy on here. So just a bit, let me darker. Then 1, 2, and a tiny bit here, the 3. The 3, it's not really visible. So I can start from here and then put it on the paper. Leave it there. The second one is, I just go with the shape. 1 line, 2 line, 3, and 4. So the line is not straight. I can and then connect with this stem, which is for the small triangle one. So I start with gentle C curve here, 1 C curve, another C curve, 2, and even I can go with just 1 C curve here, not make it into one pointy and then here. Both are okay. 1 C, it's more easier. And then here it's so similar, the shape that we did on the second leaves, but this leaf is reached to the stem of this triangle flower. This leaf is reached to this big circle flower. So I start from this stem, add a C curve, comes up, and then very gently. So we start with lighter color that we see, which is here, or this one. And at the end, it's not at the end, actually we work as a layers, and it's 2 layers would be enough for watercolor, less is more. And the next layer, we will come by this darker tone and we let it finish. So we don't go with this one first. We go with the lighter tone first and the water base. I add enough water to be a little bit runny. Runny, I mean like that. You see, you can move this water everywhere. I start with the center, which is yellow. I add really yellow here for the center. Clean my brush. And this technique is wet on dry. The paper is dry. The color are wet. And then I will move on to the rose color. But if you don't like it, please a little bit narrow line, keep in between, and then add your rosy color here. Randomly feel free to add a little bit like that. Play with your paint. Don't worry about watercolor. You don't make a mistake with that. You just go with the creativity. We don't need to make it circle shape. Just freely add your brush everywhere that you feel happy. And we have 2 parts in our brush. One is this part, which is the pointy part. It's good for the details. One is hold the hair of the brush, which is whole or belly up, and move it everywhere with my brush. And even I shape it a little bit like that. This is very light tone. I go with the first layer with very light color and try to add this rosy color everywhere. And I shape it a little bit, look like the flower, not the circle. So I can move it a little bit, bring it up here. I can move this one a little bit up here. And a little bit shape it like this. So it's look like flower. This is the first layer of my flower. It's okay, because it's still wet. But here is the start to get dry, so I don't want to add anything on top. I let it completely dry. After that, I will add. So for this part, which is wet, and I need this petal be darker, I go with a pure paint a little bit and just add very less water I shape it with this dark tone, adding some stroke, brush stroke on top to make it a little bit darker, like that. Even I see here, if you see here, it's a little bit wet, it's shiny. So it's okay to add another darker tone on top. Just play with my pedal and add another tone a little bit darker. Now I see here is get dry. So if you touch it, you see that it's completely dry. We don't need this darkness for here because it's not really dark, just some movement I would like to bring, not to be all flat light pink. So the water shouldn't be look like this one. It's the first layer should and it's so light, but not dark like that. So a little bit water, it's okay. We have on our brush. Always napkin to control the brush, and the water is enough to have it. And then one movement with hold the brush like that. Even you can wash your brush because it's dry. And bring it in, make it fade. Bring it, make it fade like that. Just one brush stroke. We can practice here too. For example, a little bit darkness here for this petal. Always better to go with whole brush. We use just the tip for the details and the line. So diluted your whole brush into the paint. And then add one movement here, like that. I go with a little bit darker than this space, so I still have the water in my brush. Continue from here, move on the other part and shape it a little like the petal. So these two, pink and purple, mix into each other like that. Both are wet, very gently can fade into each other. And then I move on like here, separate this petal, empty space, interesting to have, and make another petal. Then connect these two together. Clean your brush. Move on back to the pink. And continue from this side of your purple. I don't want to let them separate from each other. It's a lovely paint move into each other and give us a beautiful movement. And I make some details like that. I go up, I bring it here. I follow same as triangle shape that I had before, but a little bit further, go out like this pointy part, and I go out for this to connect a little bit this big part of the petal into the first flower, shape it like that. And now this big part of my triangle is left that I mentioned. It's for two petals. So this one is more purpley. I start with more purple. Continue here, move up, connect with the other petal, then move down. Try my best not to go inside the yellow Clean my brush. This petal is just the pink, light pink. And I move like that. It's already kept the shape of triangle, but a little bit more accurate to shape the petal as well. So I start with the light tone, and I would like to keep some dark tone as well to mix them together, not just one value. I prefer to have two value at least. So here I bring sap green, same color, but this time I don't add it with yellow. I would like to make it just a little bit darker. It's okay, it's already darker than this one, but just a bit warmer, I mean. So I go with reddish brown. Reddish brown is burnt sienna. It has a little bit red inside here. This is the brown, I mean. So I mix this brown with my green to make it a little bit with smaller brush, or even any brush I have. For stem, I use tip of my brush. But for the leaves, I use whole the brush. So I start with light tone, draw the line a little bit thicker with just the light tone. I don't want to let it dry at the same time. Clean it with napkin, switch into the dark color, add some stroke like that in somewhere. It's more interesting, just a bit. So you have already light and dark beside each other. Clean your brush back to your lighter tone. Continue here, should be here. Even we have another stem, which is here. For leaves is totally similar, the flowers and stem, really just adding the light stroke with whole the brush, this time with the whole brush. Lay down your brush very easily, move it like that, and shape your leaf. For a little bit, you can add a pointy part on the top part here. If you like, you can add some darkness, for example, under it, and that's enough. Again, clean your brush, yellow, tiny bit green. The other leaf is here, which is lighter. Number 05, a little bit thicker. Not really, but a little bit. So I start with the center of this one. I imagined some random line I don't want to be really accurate. I just make it a little bit dark, go and back like that. Feel free. Like this, you see? Randomly, I add my line. Even I can play with this line like this. I don't want to limit myself. I go with this circly shape, even make it darker like that. Add another curved line here. Continue, go and back and repeat. And then add a circle here. Another line like that. Or even some line like this. Just make inside my flower a little bit busy. I start with this petal as well. I continue with this part a little bit, make a curve, shape the petal. Any part you would like to go, you can 100 times go and make bigger line. You can go inside the color that you add or go out of that. Both are okay. Just make sure to really adding some line around your flower and make it interesting. Don't limit yourself. Even you can add some line into the center. You see, I go through the darker tone even. I would like to have some darkness here. So go on back and make some dark line on top. And then this part I prefer to have a little bit darker. So I add some zigzaggy line here to make this separation line between yellow and pink a little darker. Like that. It's like illustrating on top of your watercolor. And then this part a little bit, adding some line. I separate this petal. I imagine, okay, it's okay to go from here. Separate this here. Even I go out. And now I don't pay attention of this light color around. I would like to shape my petal with this darker part. Here is darker, so I shape it like that. You can decide on your own of your petals and shape. I go with this, a little bit line on the center. Make it darker by go and back and repeat the line. And even here, I would like to make it darker. And then these two petals, I would like to go with this one to make it look heavier, then start that one. So I go to shape it like that. Randomly, I go and inside the petal, separate the line. I make it darker here. Then more accurate with this dark color here too. And then this petal left on the back. So I shape that as well. A little bit darkness I would like to have here between the yellow and pink. So zigzaggy, I draw some line. This bottom part I prefer to use a little bit darker tone. But on top I don't want to add. Even you don't have to busy all of them one by one. Just whole line is enough for some. And then one separation line on the center. I prefer to make it dark here. Any line I want to make dark, I repeat my curve line a little bit more. I for the stem, I just go and back like that randomly. I don't go with just one line, cover it. I prefer not to do like this, like separate my stem. I just prefer to go, even I go to the white of the paper and inside the stem like this. It's more interesting, and even with lots of broken line, go and back and repeat. So for all the stem, you can go like that randomly, and even add some details inside for one leaf. Let me finish on the top as well. This one you can add some tone, going back, really. Even add some tone on the center, a little bit thicker. And even here for this one. For this one, I would like to make it a little bit, shape it accurate. Go out, shape like that. Curvy here, go inside and curvy here. And then one line for the center. And even for here. The bottom part, I prefer to make it a little darker. Because of that, I repeat my line, go one back to make it tone. And then I shape here a little bit, go inside, and then shape it like that. Time, very less water. I would like to have darker tone. And I go with orange value to make it a little dark. Yellow, and I use very less brush, water in my brush, diluted my brush. And the reason I go with macron pen, because on top of macron pen, you can add another layer of watercolor. So you can add a little darker here. Some brush stroke darkness there. One here. You see, just one or two movements. Even if you're not happy with the clean napkin, you can reduce this darkness. And just tiny bit, I would like to have one stroke here. Very less, I don't want to move a lot. Whole brush, it's always helpful, a little bit darker tone here. Even if you're not happy with the separation line, clean your brush very well with napkin, reduce the amount of water, and just touch the edges. That's help they fade. And they make a little bit move here. Even for the flowers on top, I like them. Just two more here. I would like to bring some dark color. One movement here, one side, and just here. And you see the darkness is not too much. It's close to the first layer. Even a little purple tone here.